They kicked me out of the house thinking I would break. Instead, I walked out, found myself, worked day and night, built my own place in this world, and when I came back, those same faces stood frozen in fear and shock. That sentence was running through my head when the front door shut behind me. Not slammed. Closed. Calmly. Like I didn't matter enough for noise. Mark placed my suitcase on the porch as if it was trash waiting for pickup. Denise stood behind him, arms crossed, lips tight, watching. Inside, I could hear silverware clinking and someone laughing. Dinner was being served while I was being erased. "Linda, this isn't working anymore," Mark said, not looking at me. "This is my house," Denise added softly. "You need to leave." The porch boards were wet. It had just rained. The smell of damp wood and cold air hit my face. My fingers brushed the doorframe one last time. It was cold. That's when it hit me, they weren't just throwing me out. They were sure I would fall apart. Before I go any further, let me say this. If this story already feels familiar to you, like it's touching something personal, please like and subscribe. And tell me in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is there. Now let me take you back 2 years to where this really began. My name is Linda. I'm 54 years old. I lived in a small Ohio town where everyone knows your business before you do. I had been married to Mark for 19 years. I was his second wife. He had 2 kids from his first marriage and I raised them like my own. I wasn't loud. I wasn't dramatic. I believed if I kept things peaceful, things would stay together. That was my first mistake. It started quietly. My birthday passed with a card placed on the kitchen counter. No dinner. No hug. But when Denise's birthday came around, Mark booked a restaurant for 8 people and ordered a custom cake. I told myself not to be sensitive. Then came my daughter Amy's college graduation. I reminded Mark a week before. The ceremony was at 10:30 a.m. That morning at exactly 6:14 a.m. I was making coffee. The kitchen smelled burnt, toast left too long in the toaster. Mark straightened his tie and said, "I can't make it. I've got a meeting." I drove alone. Amy hugged me afterward and whispered, "Mom, did he even try?" I gripped the steering wheel so hard my hands hurt. Money started disappearing. Every month small amounts, then bigger ones. When I asked, Mark said, "Why do you always make things difficult?" And then he said the line that stayed with me. "You've always been a burden, Linda." I didn't argue. I turned off the sink. The faucet had been dripping. Every 3 seconds. Drip, drip, drip. I stood there listening, wondering when I had become invisible. Everything changed the night I saw the email. Mark left his laptop open on the kitchen table. The subject line read, "Property transfer documents, signature required." My name was on it. The signature was not mine. My stomach dropped. That night I called Eleanor Harper. She was 72, my neighbor, retired attorney. She drank tea every evening on her porch, lavender always in the air around her house. She looked at the email, adjusted her glasses and said calmly, "Linda, those are forged signatures." The bank statements came next. 96 monthly transfers. $440 each. And one large withdrawal. $42,380, gone in a single day. Eleanor didn't raise her voice. She just said, "Now you decide. Stay quiet or protect yourself." For the first time in years I said it out loud. I'm not staying quiet. I prepared without anyone noticing. New bank account. Credit freeze. Printed emails. Screenshots. One email stopped my breath completely. Mark had written, "She won't fight. He never does. That's what makes this easy." Then the day came when they told me to leave. I rented a tiny apartment, 480 square feet. Old paint smell. Thin walls. But it was mine. I started cooking for others. Small catering jobs. Woke up at 5:40 every morning. My car had 147,000 miles, but it kept running. 6 months passed. I wasn't surviving anymore. I was building. Thanksgiving came. Mark hosted a big family dinner. I wasn't invited. I went anyway. Pause here for a second. Before I tell you what happened next, have you ever been made to feel small by your own family? If so, write it in the comments. You're not alone. Now listen carefully. Mark stood up to give a speech. He painted himself as patient, as generous, as the victim. That's when Eleanor stepped forward and placed the folder on the table. Bank records. Transfers. Forged documents. That email. The room went silent. Denise's face drained of color. Mark's voice cracked. The truth didn't explode, it settled. Heavy. Final. The fallout came fast. Accounts frozen. Legal consequences. Family lines redrawn. Today I run my own kitchen business. I grow herbs by my window. I sleep peacefully. They thought kicking me out would break me. It didn't. It introduced me to myself. If this story reached your heart, please like and subscribe. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. And tell me, have you ever had to set boundaries with family? I read every comment. There's another story waiting for you in the description. Take care of yourself.